All right, Saurabh Shukla from NewsMobile, White House correspondent. You were there when Zelensky arrived, and of course, all the madness that unfolded in that Oval Office. What's your takeaway?
Well, Gary, I must say that this has been a dark day in diplomacy. A deal which was almost finalized. It was supposed to be signed, and then President Zelensky arrives, and for some reason, if you see his body language, the way when he entered as well, was very stiff. And despite the fact that many times during this press gaggle, President Trump tried to be diplomatic, tried to rein him in, but he was really coming across as very aggressive. If we see the whole exchange, I studied the entire 40 minutes exchange, inside the Oval, and I can tell you that there have been instances where so many world leaders, you and me were there when Prime Minister Modi was there. There have been other world leaders who have been meeting President Trump. They have been very civilized, so to say, because if you have your differences as well, you don't air them in public. You don't try to score brownie points when you know you don't have an upper hand. It's only something else. If something else was there in his mind, he shouldn't have agreed to come in the first place. But when you come here, you respect the office of the President of the United States and the people of the US, who expect you to behave with civility, who expect you to behave in a manner which is befitting any president. And that's what he did not do. And despite the fact, President Trump, I saw the statement coming out, he has been gracious in saying that he still hopes that the peace can return back and President Zelensky will be back on the negotiating table. That's a statement. Otherwise, the way President Zelensky behaved today was really undiplomatic. In fact, you should see the cameras panning even on the diplomats who were there seated at the Oval. They were in shock in the manner in which this whole exchange went on. He tried to be prescriptive to Vice President Vance, telling him, oh, you don't know Ukraine, you haven't visited Ukraine. Come on. If you have any difference, you don't say it in front of the cameras. You talk about civilities. The British Prime Minister was there. He and President Trump don't agree on everything. With Indian Prime Minister, they don't agree on everything. But they will be civil when it comes to cameras. They will be agreeing to disagree, but not in this shrill manner. I thought that was really very immature behavior as well.
Now, clearly, there was an entire agenda for the day. Zelensky arrives, and then they meet in the Oval. They exchange pleasantries in front of the cameras, and they go to a closed working lunch where all of these negotiations should have unfolded. But instead, Zelensky had another agenda. He went in, and even J.D. Vance was like, you know what? We're not gonna litigate this in front of the American people on camera. But Zelensky pushed, and then President Trump, obviously, you saw the body language, the assertion of his President Trump's dominance in that room, and Zelensky just made himself look like a fool in front of the entire world. And I want to bring this up because Lindsey Graham was just there at the White House too.
Yes.
And a lot of people are saying, well, you know what? Zelensky met with Graham right before this meeting took place, and a lot of people are saying, well, maybe Zelensky and Graham, who we know is a war hawk, who is, he loves perpetual war. He's always like bomb everybody, right? But people are saying maybe there was an ulterior motive to derail the peace plan so that this perpetual war could go forward. What are your thoughts on that? And of course, you saw Lindsey when you were there.
I'll tell you what, I heard what Lindsey Graham was saying, that, and his body language obviously was very different. I don't know what transpired between the meeting that he had with Zelensky. But yes, Gary, a lot of people profiteer out of war. Who knows who was trying to engineer? But this is on the leadership. You, as the president of Ukraine, should have got on to the Oval Office to do a deal. you should have been gracious in the fact that the people of the United States, the President of the United States have supported you too thick and thin. This has been a bipartisan support to Ukraine, and you should have been grateful there. You should have actually said that, Mr. President, here is a time we need to resolve some of the issues, and let's do it when we meet for lunch. This is why diplomatic negotiations happened. You and me, when we advise leaders, sometimes we always tell them that you have to be calm and composed. Only if there was something else that was at the mind of Mr. Zelensky that you and me don't know, maybe a third factor or a third force guiding him, which wanted the war to go on, which wanted the misery for the Ukrainian people and for the common civilians who are dying and the young soldiers who are dying. Perhaps they wanted this war to go on and they didn't want the peace to happen, which President Trump has been trying very hard. I must say, Gary, that he has been playing, President Trump, the role of a peacemaker. He has been trying right at the outset of this presidency to bring about peace, whether in the Middle East or to end the Russia-Ukraine war. But there are some elements, it seems, who don't want this peace to prevail, and perhaps one of them guided Zelensky.
Well, it was interesting when Vance brought up the fact that Zelensky was campaigning for the opposition during the election, and then they went to the arms factory in Pennsylvania. They were signing weapons of war with Sharpies, and clearly they have. There's a vested interest for the war machine to continue, and there's a lot of people that make a lot of money off of war, and. That money, as even like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has shared, that money just creates a circle. It comes from the United States and it goes to Ukraine, and then the weapons contracts get brought back into the military-industrial complex here, and then all that big money that these weapons manufacturers get, they have lobbyists, they have lawyers, and they go and they tell the congressman, they take them out to dinner and they schmooze them, and money. And even with like USAID, you never know like how much money is being funneled back through all these different companies and think tanks. So in my opinion, I think there obviously is a vested interest to derail this peace plan. I've never really trusted Lindsey Graham ever, but we'll have to wait and see. What are your final thoughts? Do you think this is completely out the window?
Well, I still see, for now, this is a big, I would say it's a wreck process. I'd written about it, we've been talking about it, and we were hopeful that this war will come to an end. But I do see this as a big setback, and this is a process which will take some time. Even though, as I said, that President Trump played the role of a statesman today, he has issued a statement saying that he wants Zelensky to come back to the table. But the reality is that today Zelensky, after the way he behaved at the Oval Office, was virtually kicked out of the White House. There was no joint presser. He was unceremoniously, in some ways, my sources telling me, was asked to leave because he disrespected the institution of the President of the United States. That's, Gary, if you ask me, was the biggest outline. But I do hope this war can come to an end. The misery of people can end. And obviously, we can use these precious resources to better use for the United States and the world, and for the people of the world. Gary?
All right. Saurabh Shukla, NewsMobile, thank you for joining us for this quick hit, last minute, and we look forward to talking with you more.
Thank you, my friend Gary. All the best. Thank you.